Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Card Advantage podcast. It is April 23rd, 2022 at 9:34 p.m. when we are recording. As always, joined by my co-host, Mr. Bunk. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Same old, same old. Weather's getting warm. Time to start hitting some baseball games and watching the good old Durham Bulls down here in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, can you name me one Durham Bull?
One Durham Bull would have been Wander Franco from a year ago.
Yeah,
that's the only one I got for you. When I hit the game here in a few weeks, I'll let you know.
All right. You have to go graphing, man.
I don't know what that means. Is he a player on the team?
No, you run to the first row with your baseball cards and get them signed.
Oh yeah, no. Don't do that. Where I hold my children out like Simba and try to get them to sign cards for them.
Man, that works, dude.
I know. One day we'll get into the bunk child scam where you get your children to write letters to Major League Baseball players for autographs.
Yeah, except the difference is my kids get to keep them.
Yeah, very true. Very true. All right, so let's get into Sports Card Advantage podcast business. As always, we are live with the new website, sportscardadvantage.com. Find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, SportsCardADVTG. Contest is still up and running. All you have to do is leave us a review on Apple or Spotify podcast for this podcast. Screenshot it, send us an email, info@sportscardadvantage.com. We'll be announcing a winner probably in about a month. Prizes that are available are the following. One VIP pass to the National, which is in July. If you're not going to be at National or don't want the VIP pass, then you will be eligible for a $200 slab. We'll try to work with you on somebody that you're looking for as far as a player, or a $200 break credit to the breaker of your choice. So all you have to do, take 30 seconds, go leave us a review, take a screenshot of it, email info@sportscardadvantage.com, and you'll be entered to win. Some exciting news for the podcast. We're starting to try to step up our game as far as outreach and getting guys to come on the podcast. The next 2 weeks, we are scheduled to have a few guests on. I'm going to announce who those guests are right now so that you can try to send us emails or send us questions on Instagram or Twitter for the guests. I cannot guarantee that the guests will come on. So for whatever reason, their schedule changes or they cancel or whatever it is, the show will still go on, but they just won't be here. So disclaimer now, for whatever reason, these guests do not show up in the next couple weeks. It is circumstances beyond our control. We will do the best that we can. So next week, the interview will be taking place Tuesday, April 26th. The episode will not air until Saturday, but if you want to get your questions answered, get them to me by April 26th at noon Eastern. The guest is Mike Giuseppe from Sports Cards Nonsense Podcast. We will be talking about all things hobby. We will also be talking about the new app that they are dropping. We want to get the inside scoop before it comes out and talk about what's going on with that. The following week, we will be interviewing Nat Turner. Yes, that Nat Turner, head of Collectors Universe. That interview will take place on May 3rd. I think we're at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So any questions you want to have for Nat, get them to us, info@sportscardadvantage.com before May 3rd at 11 a.m. Also disclaimer for that interview, we are not going to sit there and browbeat him about PSA backlog. This is Bunk's wet dream guest to talk about set collecting and all kinds of other nerdy shit. And then we will also be talking about grading. The purposes of what we want to get out of this interview is to get some insight to help you guys get a better understanding of how PSA grades cards. What are they looking at? What are some of the drawbacks? What are some of the common mistakes? We're not going to sit there and talk about backlog. I mean, that topic has been done to death.
Yeah, I don't care anymore about backlog.
Yeah. I mean, right now, PSA is turning around cards. If you've still got cards in backlog, so be it. There's nothing that Nat's going to tell you that is going to move that along any faster. So we're going to be talking about stuff that's current in the hobby and try to get some insights from you guys about how they grade. So, anything else you want to throw in here for Sports Card Advantage podcast business?
No, I got to start preparing my Nat Turner interview question.
Yes, that is all you, buddy. For those of you that are giving us shit about collecting and we talk too much about investments and flipping and that kind of stuff, that episode is going to be focused a lot on collecting, set collecting, and all kinds of whatever other things you guys want to talk about in regards to collecting.
Yeah, set registry guy.
Whatever. That's going to be your show, and you guys can nerd it up about all things sets.
I'm gonna tell him all about my Beckett registries. See what he thinks.
Sure. Whatever it is, just don't get us blackballed by being a dickhead.
I won't be a dick.
All right. So we got an interesting show for you guys today. We're going to be talking a little bit of everything. We got some football, we got some basketball, we got some baseball. First off, though, the topic that we're going to chat about is something that I've seen in a lot of videos on YouTube, and it's something that hasn't sat well with me. So I wanted to talk about it on the podcast and throw it back and forth with Bunk. And that's a lot of times when you're seeing the show set, when we talk about card shows, and you're seeing the show set up, and you're seeing dealers walk around to each other and buy from each other before the show opens. And I'll say my 2 cents on this and then kick it over to Bunk. To me, this bothers me. Because it enables the deal. To me, it's like the rich get richer. It enables the dealers to get first crack at the best of the best. They are able to see everything. They're able to potentially get deals. They're able to buy a card for, let's say, $500, and then they're going to try to make a 20 or 30% markup on that and flip it to you when you could have gotten that same card for 20 or 30% less. So I don't like the fact that these guys are getting the pick of the litter before the doors even open to the public. There's nothing that's ever going to be done about it. I just think it's ethically questionable in regards to that, because then most of the time they just turn around and mark that stuff up and then try to resell it to you during the same show. So I have a problem with it. I wanted to voice my problem and then start a discussion here. And Bunk, I'll kick it to you for your 2 cents on this.
I think it's simply standing operating procedure. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I mean, it's their guys' money. They can do what they want to do. I mean, how do you know it's not the local guys buying stuff? They've got customers maybe coming in, or people they know that hit their shows, and they know some buyers what they're looking for ahead of time, and they're going around and picking that stuff up from other dealers before they get there. Now that plays into your point a little bit, that they're taking someone else and giving it to you.
If it's a local guy, let's use my city for example. I'm in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, and there was a show in Raleigh 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to that show. And, I know a dealer there, and he knows that I like, let's say Christian McCaffrey, and so he's going to go, he sees a McCaffrey card that he thinks that I might like, or he texts me, he's like, yo, I got this McCaffrey, and he's going to buy it from this guy at a show for $500 and then turn around and sell it to me for a 20% markup at $600 or $650. So a card that I could have got.
Well, you don't know that guy would have sold it to you for $5. Like, I really don't think it matters at all. Like, it is what it is. When the door opens to the public, cards are on the table, the prices are ready to go, and it is what it is. I don't care who got what beforehand. Well, it's either my price or not.
To me,
and I'll buy if I want.
I mean, I know that it's never going to change. I know that obviously there's no really way to stop it, and you're not going to be like, guys, you can't do that.
With it. I don't understand. I don't see what's unethical.
Because you, as a dealer who gets first access to pick the litter of what the cards are. I mean, what if there's a card that you're looking for, a hard to find card, and it's like you could have had a chance to get that, or somebody else that's in the crowd of people that's going to get let in has a chance to get it. Meanwhile, there's, all the other dealers that'll have a chance to get access to it before you. I mean,
right. And if they buy it and then try to charge me too much for it, guess what they're going home with? The car they just bought and marked it up too high. And I don't know that I would have got it from the original guy for a price I wanted either. That's why I'm failing to see why it's a big deal. Like, I just don't get it.
To me, give everybody a chance to get access to the car. Like eBay, for example. There's no early admission. There's no, you get access to something that I don't see. It's like there's an auction and whoever's willing to pay the most for it, everybody gets a chance to fucking shove your small violin up your ass. For those of you that are listening and not watching, Bunk is making a small motion with his fingers, indicating that the world is playing the smallest violin, singing a sad song. And I can say, shove that fucking violin up your ass.
I'll send you some Kleenex, guy.
I just think that it's like, obviously base cards and some of this other stuff, none of these dealers are buying anyway. So it's going to be the hard to find stuff. And, once again, I know that they're not going to stop because I am upset about it. I see it a ton on, certain people's videos that I'm not going to mention because I don't, want to blow up their spot. But it's like, I just bought this card off this guy as a dealer on his way in to set up in the parking lot, and then he turns around and flips it for 20 or 30%. I'm not knocking the hustle. But at the same time, it's like I'm the one who doesn't get access to the early admission that's going to have to pay the extra 30% versus getting.
Yeah, again, you're assuming that you're getting it for 30% less.
I mean,
I don't know that you, as the attendee of the show, is going to get the deal that some buddy gave another buddy because they do deals at other shows in the past.
Yeah, but more than likely that guy that's doing the selling to the other dealer has some sort of meat on the bone, and if he would have tried to charge me that same extra 30%, and I can probably negotiate down a little bit. He's not going to try to sell it to me for the markup that the other person's selling to me. I just think I'd have opportunities to get access to certain things for cheaper if there wasn't some of this pre-show buying going on.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of cards at a show. I really don't think in the grand scheme of things you missed out on too much.
Not really, but at the same time, as I said, there's these rare pieces, like hard to find cards or other things that, maybe you don't have a chance to get to. And, I normally do not knock people's hustle, but at the same time, I just think it's like, for some guys, it's like I don't have the opportunity to fly around to 17 shows, a year and go to all these different things. And, some of these guys are on the road all the time. So it's like when the circus comes to town, I want access to the full experience, and I want to be able to get what's in front of me versus, having potentially 50 to 100 cards or even more, depending on how much buying and selling is going on, disappear or get marked up before I even have a chance to get it.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I don't think it's that big a deal, but I understand what you're saying.
Thank you. I appreciate you understanding what I'm saying and
no problem.
Turning your violin off. All right. Well, we'll not rant and rave about that anymore. We'll move on. Change gears a little bit here to. We have a super special Slab Wars this evening that for you guys. In that we have, for those of you that are unfamiliar, Slab Wars is when we take a particular card and compare it against various grading companies and show you, illustrate the differences in prices. The reason why today is so special is we have never had a card have a BGS black label included in the grouping. And today's grouping will include a BGS black label, a BGS 10, a PSA 10, an SGC 10, and that's it. The card was not available in HGA or CSG. The only CSG that was available was the CSG 9. So we won't be talking about that. The card that we will be talking about, however, is the 2013 Prizm Giannis base card. And we'll be walking through the prices overall. Obviously, we're talking about Giannis because Milwaukee's in the playoffs. Some people think that Giannis has a chance to go back to back. We've been trying to do slab wars pretty regularly, either with NBA playoff guys or MLB guys. So Giannis was perfect. Milwaukee blew out the Bulls the other night. Definitely looking like they're in control. So let's take a look. PSA 10 is always the default that we'll start with. Pop on this is $27.29. Current last sale was $14.80. And then this is where it gets interesting. So the next one up is a BGS 10 Black. Any guesses from Mr. Bunk as far as the last sale of this was April 9th, so it was 2 weeks ago. The pop on this is 19. So there's actually 19 of these that came in at BGS 10 Blacks, which is rare.
There's 19 black labels on this.
19 black labels.
255 regular 10s and 1,990 9.5s. So obviously on a 2013-2014 card, well before PSA ever took off. But what do we got? We had a PSA 10 was $14.80 at what pop?
$14.80 pop 2,700.
2,700. Well, then the BGS black label ought to be $5,000.
Last sale on BGS black label was $9,001.
Yeah, even higher. Oof. Nice.
That's crazy. But I mean, I'd be curious to know BGS black pops as far as. I mean, 19 seems like a lot.
Yeah, because most cards don't have any. And if they do, they have one at the most. So yeah, 19 is very high. It just must be the cut of that set. I mean, have you looked the gem rate of that set in totality at all?
I have not, but we can take a quick look at it. Shout out to gemrate.com, and we'll take a quick look.
I mean, it's got to be. My guess is going to be greater than 70%.
It's got to be high. What was this 2013 basketball?
Yeah, 13-14 Prizm.
Yeah, Prizm. Total gem rate for the entire set is 59%, and the gem rate for the Giannis itself is 63%.
Okay.
Not
as high as I thought, but
for back then, for 2013, that's high. I mean, the gem rates didn't really start to climb into like the 70s and 80s for some of these sets until 2018. Like 2018 across the board, the gem rates are ridiculous. There are certain Topps Chrome baseball sets that are like 75 to 80%. Some of those cards, gem rates like on some of the Otanis and some of the Acunas are literally in the 70s and 80s as far as the gem rate is concerned. And for those of you that are not sure what gem rate means, it means the amount of cards that were submitted, as a percentage of the amount of gems being PSA 10s. So if, for example, the Giannis, there was 4,352 Giannis's submitted to PSA. 2,734 of those were gems, meaning gem rate of 63%. So BGS 10... pop 252, last sale $2,447, which is about $1,000 more than the PSA 10. Not particularly. I thought it would be higher. Usually BGS 10 as a ratio to PSA 10 is a bit higher, but that's what we're looking at. This thing peaked at 2,800 and then came back down. I mean, across the board, this card's been relatively flat no matter what grading company you're looking at. But obviously, if they go deep into the playoffs or he wins back-to-back, people put an asterisk on last year just because of injuries. So if Milwaukee can somehow win again, that definitely means a lot for his overall value and his place in the pantheon of basketball.
Even at a BGS 10 population 255, that's ridiculously high.
Yeah.
So I think the price differential there is not as big as you think because of that number by itself.
Yeah, because it's
And then,
not
and then
like
people, and
30 or
then
40.
right, and then you have your people that want that card and they just prefer the PSA slab, and slash it comes in underneath it value wise, but you got 2,700 of them. You prefer that slab anyway. I think that's why the price is closer.
Yeah. And then we'll move on to SGC. The only SGC 10 that I could find was an SGC 10 Pristine. That sold for $997. Definitely a little surprising that the quote unquote Pristine, that's their really good one, right? The Pristine.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's their equivalent to BGS 10 or Black Label. But this one only sold for $997, which is roughly 60% of PSA 10. And then we have the BGS.
It's already in PSA's possession.
Probably. And then you have the BGS 9.5. Pop is 1973 on this, and the last sale on this is 906. So that's definitely interesting that the BGS 9.5 and the SGC 10 Pristine are pretty close in value. It's less than $100.
That says all you need to say about SGC. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy, but on the higher end SGC stuff, people really get skittish about spending money on higher end cards for SGC. The prices really start to diverge, and there's just there's so much more faith in PSA and BGS for values on higher end cards. But yeah, that's all we got for.
Quality Slab Wars, sir.
Yeah, I mean it's the first BGS Black Label that we were able to find, and it's actually really convenient that one sold literally a couple weeks ago. So prices are pretty similar, but definitely something to look for if you can find them raw. Obviously the grading on this is good, and I mean the raw prices are 504, and with gem rates of 63%. And PSA 10s coming in at $1,500 roughly. There's a good markup for that. You can get it out to PSA for $100, have it turned around in 2 weeks, and that's a quality flip if you're able to get the 10. PSA and a PSA 9, to tell you the truth, if you buy it and you send it out and you get the 9 instead of the 10, you should be able to break even. I'm going to shamelessly plug Sports Card Advantage. We're going to go to the sportscardadvantage.com calculator here and see if you buy it for raw price and sell it for PSA 9, whether or not you'd be upside down.
What are the latest 9s at?
The last 9 went for $689.
Yeah, you're going to be a little upside down there, but not bad. Not a bad lotto ticket for a 10.
Yeah, let's find out. So if you paid last raw comp was 504, and you're going to pay 100 plus the 15 for shipping for grading. So the minimum that you'll need to make a profit if you're buying and selling on eBay is $752. So you'd be upside down $11.52, $63. So
you just said $750.
Yeah.
Profit. I thought you said they're selling for PSA 9s are selling for $604.
$689. Raws are selling for $504. The last PSA 9 sold for $689.
Got it. Yeah, so it's a $63 risk for an $800 gain.
Yeah, I mean you're looking at a potential gain of $750 and a risk of $60.
Right, and it's been my experience of what we've been doing that we would do that all day long.
Yeah,
that kind of risk.
100%.
First reward.
100%. I mean, provided that you take a good look at the card and you're not just buying any of the ones that you can find. If you look at it on eBay with good pictures and you see that it's centered well and the corners are in good shape, and there's no visible scratches and nothing in the description, I mean that's a risk I'll take all day long. Because if you get it in hand and you still think it's good and you send it out for whatever reason you get the 9, I mean to lose $60 for a chance to gain $750, over 10-1 risk reward. And yeah, as I said, we'll take those all day long, and probably as soon as we get off this podcast, we'll start looking for raw Giannis, prisms.
Well, we won't go look for them at a show because you'll lose out on all of them before the doors open.
Oh, yes, thank you. And how many weeks are we going to get this joke to come back on me here?
We'll find out. Stay tuned.
All right, let's move along before I take any more abuse here. We are going to talk. We're going to talk football quickly. Once again, the Prizm National Treasures Football has been pushed back. So we are looking at. Let's see. Prizm is now going to be coming out May 11th. And National Treasures, you're looking at May 4th. So both of these are post NFL draft. The new class will already be on a team. Do you feel that pushing it past the draft and having this product come out this late is going to affect prices, breaks, interest? Also NBA playoffs will be in like full swing. Baseball up and running. NFL draft just happened. Do you feel that there'll be less interest?
I mean, there's only so much money to go around, and are they staying on schedule with whatever's coming out for 2022?
Like for 2022,
like whatever products are going to have the first releases of the class being drafted in 5 days.
I mean, you'll probably get college stuff at some point, I would think, but I don't know.
All right, so then they're probably not going to be competing. It'll be the lower end football stuff that so you won't be competing with that. So I don't know. I tend to believe that people are still starving for this stuff and they want it bad, and they'll still pay what they're going to pay, even though I mean it's utterly ridiculous. This isn't released yet. I mean, what is the holdup here? They're pumping out every other product, son.
Yeah.
What are they citing as the holdup?
I don't think they have cited anything.
They ran out of stickers.
I mean,
they ran out of stickers. The Panini Point machine is broken.
I'm trying to figure out
what's wrong.
I'm trying to figure out what boxes are going to sell for here. So apparently it's 12 cards per pack, 12 packs per box, 12 boxes per case. Cases are going to go for $19,949.95. So let me see if I can figure out where the hobby box prices are going to be. Hobby box case. How about just the hobby box itself?
That's just
$1,700 for a box, which is going to come in at $300 more than they were last year. No, $200 more. Yeah, $200 more than they were last year, which is crazy. 2 autos, 10 numbered prisms, 4 silver prisms, 5 inserts, and 24 rookies per box on average. So you're literally going to get a box for $1,700 that only has 2 autos in it. And if you get crap autos, you are going to take an absolute beating on this.
Yeah, a couple offensive linemen.
Yeah, dude. Even if you get
7th round wide receivers,
even if you get like a Jalen Waddle auto, like if you don't get like Mack and Trey and Fields and who's the other guy I can't think of, Zach Wilson, like if you don't get one of those guys or some sort of silver or whatever, like you're gonna be so upside down on these boxes.
Right. So then people will, if you're not buying boxes, people will gamble and play the lottery on breaks.
Breaks. Yeah. I mean,
breaks are probably going to crush it.
I don't know, man, because the box still costs $1,700.
Yeah. People would rather pay $500-$600 for a spot or for in a random as opposed to buying the whole box. I mean, if they're going to spend all that money anyway, and they can't go that high, they'll try to hit some random teams.
So you're going to be looking at, if they do a case break for some of these more popular ones, you're going to be looking at $1,000 to $1,500 for some of those more popular teams.
And we've seen those fill.
Yeah, but I mean, even the shit teams.
How much are they producing? I mean, is this stuff low production.
I doubt it. Why would it
Yeah,
be?
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I would have to
I mean, it
think
doesn't
that
seem like a box you buy and put on your shelf.
no. Well, especially with the class that was the last year. It's like Zach Wilson, Mac, Fields, Trey Lance. I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's any all timers.
yeah, I mean, at least like with 2020, you have Burrow and you have Herbert who feel like they're going to be leading the league for the foreseeable
right.
future. From what we saw out of Fields last year, it was nothing impressive, nothing really impressive from Zach Wilson. Obviously, Mac had a good season, but
He's all right.
Mac ain't Tom Brady, and so far they still have no weapons in New England. So, I'm not buying a box at $1,700 and hoping to put it on the shelf.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the more you talk it out, it has all the makings for crashing and burning.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's crazy. Like,
I mean, some people won't even carry it.
well, I mean,
a lot of breakers just won't even grab it.
Here's the other change in the market between now and last year. Last year, when this product came out, it literally ran itself right into one of the largest booms in sports card history.
Mm-hmm.
And, last February, March, you saw insane spikes. We're not there. So, like, if you bought in a box, if you bought boxes of that product when it came out, I think in December, I mean, you literally ran that right into the price run up of the century. And now things are flat. We're in a shit economy, and the box is, 15% more expensive.
Yeah.
And the class is worse.
I think that's still the big deal. Like, if this thing's say it fails, say it just doesn't do well, it's gonna not do well because of the price. If you priced it right, your football people would still go bonkers for this thing, even though it's ridiculously late. But at that price point, a lot of people are not getting in on that.
Yeah.
Some of your diehard footballers aren't getting in on that.
Yeah, I mean, for what we do and everything else, I mean, we won't. Obviously, we're not touching boxes, and for breaks, I'm not going to pay $1,000 to get into a New England Patriots break. I mean, because if you don't hit a Big Mac card, if you don't hit a Mac Auto in that case, you're screwed.
Yeah, and I think we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but same thing with baseball. Like the baseball overall market is generally down, but the box prices keep going up and up and up. So I find myself, I love breaks, but I don't want to get in any of them.
But at least with baseball, most of those boxes are like $300, $400. Like,
no, I hear you.
It's not a $1,700 box. I mean, as far as I would consider Prizm as far as like your mid-level product. It's not National Treasures, and it's not some of these other like high-end products. It's a mid-level product,
but it's well liked, which I think elevates it high, a little bit.
Yeah, but this probably will be the most expensive mid-tier priced box in sports cards, and why does it need to go from $14.99, which was already expensive, to $16.99?
Because they think people are going to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that, and they're
FOMO is just out of control. People, and who knows? Maybe there's enough people hunting those, because listen, the paydays on your Wilsons, your Lances, your Mac Jones, and Justin Fields are going to be huge. So that may be enough for people to gamble.
But are they? I mean, if you look at some of their stuff, some of the other mid-level products, your optics and some of that stuff has come out already with these guys. And
generally speaking, listen, you got to turn it over immediately. The day you get it, you got to sell it.
Yeah.
And at a price point that high, generally boxes that come out with huge steam like that, the singles do well, really well. They kind of reflect the box price. In those first 2 weeks,
you gotta flip it while the FOMO is real, and otherwise, if you hold it for any amount of time, you're gonna be screwed.
You can't hold it at all at that price. You can't hold anything at all. Even the shit you get out of that box, you have to sell immediately.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm happy with us as far as the way we look at it, and we just buy singles. We find stuff that we like, and we buy that, and that's the end of it. And I would love to get into breaks, but once again, I don't feel if I'm going to spend $500 on cards, I'd rather find a couple of $250 cards that we feel have a really good chance to gem and look at that versus trying to hit a lottery. I feel like I have much more control over that's I'd rather play the PSA lottery than the break lottery.
Yeah, I just saved up, sold a bunch of junk, hustling a little bit, and bought myself a really sweet Adam Dunn card last week.
God.
I mean, and I could have got in 5 or 6 breaks for what I spent on the card, but I'd rather have the card.
Oh, do tell what Adam Dunn card you bought for what you could have gotten into 5 or 6 breaks for.
Oh, I got a barrel card guy.
Did Adam Dunn drop it off at your house? Like, how much did you spend on this thing?
You go look it up. Don't worry about it.
Guy, I would love to know how much you spent on an Adam Dunn barrel card. Is there even an expensive Adam Dunn card out there?
Guy, people buy Adam Dunn like crazy. Do you know how many cards I got to pass on because there's fools? I thought I'm the only one buying them, but apparently not.
Is it Adam himself? Like, is he trying to accumulate? I mean, Cincinnati's a small market. He's not in the Hall of Fame, so who the fuck's chasing Adam Dunn?
I don't know. You tell me.
Fair enough. All right. Well, speaking of, I guess, the sport that Adam played, we'll shift gears here into baseball. It was, excuse me, a little surprising that as we headed into the baseball season, that there wasn't like it's baseball time. We're going to get a bump in value in cards. One of the things that I looked at was Card Ladder has some indexes, and they basically look at sports, some of the markets as a whole. If you look at the last 3 months of the baseball market, there's an average growth of 6%. And, so you're looking from January to April. And 6% is not a whole heck of a lot, going into baseball season. And you look at some of these guys, you look at, the Ohtani, coming off MVP, already crushing the ball, already pitching lights out. His stuff is flat. So, I will turn it over to our resident guru, Mr. Bunk here, to walk us through what you think as far as why there isn't that baseball season excitement, right now.
Yeah, no, I think the lockout had something to do with it for sure. Because even for me, great baseball start, but it just wasn't the same flow and feel. It didn't occur at the same times it was supposed to. It was overlapping with things it shouldn't. So it's like people were still caught up in March Madness at the time of, when baseball's coming. So, I think it's stuff like that. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. I think the economy has something to do with it as well. And certainly to your football point earlier, last January to April would have been well higher than 6% growth in the same time frame.
Yeah.
I mean, 6%. If you went back, I have to imagine it's way less than what it would have been a year ago.
I can probably tell.
I don't know if those indexes
they date back.
Filter that out.
Yeah, they do.
I remember us talking about first quarter eBay prices last year, eBay sales last year, total listings and total revenue. It was absurd on sports card. And obviously in Q1, a lot of that's baseball.
Yeah, so there is the upward climb, I guess you could say, from last year was much higher.
Yeah, and then also a lot of cards also, remember I even mentioned it last week. A lot of cards I've been looking at recently, I was looking at their 365-day span, and a lot of their peaks occurred in May, June, July, when in the past they'd always been late February to early April. Like the hype of the season was always the biggest time to sell baseball, and that definitely did not happen this year.
So you're potentially saying that we could get the hype of the season, quote unquote, in May, June, July instead of
a little later,
March,
if that's
April.
a new trend that's being followed. Like people waiting for everything else to be done and gone, and then baseball is the only thing, the only show in town. But that is the trend. I mean, if it happens again, then it's definitely now it's 2 years in a row that I've noticed that now. So
the only thing that's going to be interesting this year versus last year is this year you got all the big football products releasing in May. So will you see guys sell some of their baseball stuff to afford football, to buy some of this football product?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, hope so. Hopefully somebody sells a whole bunch of duns and floods the market.
Yeah, guy.
I need some deals.
Oh, gosh. I'll send you $20. It should cover whatever you need. So let's see. What was I going to say? Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting to see this. I mean, how much the economy plays into it, and whether or not guys have the disposable income that they did last year, and also it's some of your big name guys, Tatis, Acuna, both hurt. Ohtani coming off MVP. Vlad stuff has shot up on performance, but then come right back down. I mean, I'll take a look at a couple of Vlad cards. I mean, some of the price swings on this.
Based on performance, they should be through the roof. That dude is a friggin' animal.
Well, it's interesting I mean, if you look at Vlad stuff over the last 3 months has climbed. So I'm looking at his Topps Chrome Prizm Refractor card. So in mid-March 425, this thing peaked at 617.
When?
April 17th, and then last sale 575. But you're still talking a 50% push over the last month. He got hot and hit 3 home runs in a game, and basically is going to make a play for MVP this year. He didn't win last year, obviously, because Ohtani won. He came in second, so he's definitely going to be in the running. So his stuff pumped. But I mean, if you look at Ohtani stuff is flat.
Well, he's only hitting 200.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 3 or 4 home runs already, and he's pitched well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Baseball's got a different feel. We still have these dumb extra inning rules. More than ever now, baseball's in like load management mode. You got all these guys getting days off that they never used to get. That drives me nuts from a fantasy card and whatever perspective. Yeah, but at the same time, so we got pitchers that can't even get out of the 4th inning. Now I understand they had a shortened spring training. We're still ramping some of these guys up, but bullpens are getting destroyed. And surprisingly, I don't know if it's the balls or not, because it's certainly not the spin rates are too high, because no one can put sticky stuff on their fingers. But home runs are down.
Yeah,
home runs are way, way down this year. If you look at it,
which isn't good for card sales.
No, chicks dig the long ball, man. and between the load management BS and the no home runs, and guys still eat. So now you got no home runs and you're hitting 220 as a team. I mean, it's not exciting.
It's boring. Yeah.
Like, I don't collect Yankees because for the last 15 years, they're generally boring to watch. Yeah. Absolutely boring.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is. And a lot of teams are built that way. They're just boring. It's a home run or nothing. And then when home runs go away or go down, then all of a sudden that excitement's not there anymore.
So are you saying baseball sucks?
No, best game on planet Earth.
So I have the 2018 Topps Chrome Ohtani pitching refractor up. Beginning of March, 407. This thing peaked at 598 on April 9th, which I think is right around opening day. And then as soon as opening day hit, it freaking plummeted. April 17th sold for 390. And then jump back up 470 and 485. So it's right in the middle of that 407 to 598 range. So it's just interesting that, it's flat. It surged a little bit right at opening day and then plummeted right after that. And it's not like we're talking about one sale. There was one sale at 502, one sale at 483, one sale at 490, and then 2 sales, 450 and 390. So there's multiple sales that have happened. And it's not just like a one-off, crap sale. So it's flat. So I think I agree that there definitely needs to be more Vlad type nights where you have your superstars that are hitting, 2-3 home runs and guys that are playing well. But right now, Acuna hurt, Tatis hurt. I don't know what Juan Soto has done. Has Soto done anything so far this year?
No, I think he took the donut tonight, but yeah, he was hitting going into tonight. I think he was hitting 280 with 3 home runs. I mean, he's doing all right, but the Nats suck. So I'm curious to see what kind of numbers he puts up in a lineup that's so god awful.
Yeah, so
but he'll be a Yankee in 2025 anyway. So you should load up on Soto now.
Thank you for the tip.
All right, you mark this episode down. When he's the Yankee.
Episode 56, Bunk predicts Juan Soto to be a Yankee. I would imagine his contract's up in a few years.
Yeah, I think he's a free agent in 2025.
Yeah, there you go. And then they'll sign him for 10
and he
years.
turned down $1/3 of $1 billion from the Nationals, so he's gone. He's not staying.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. The Yankees will pay him for 10 years, like $500 million, and then he'll be a Yankee for the rest of his career and suck for the last 5 years.
I couldn't have Harper, so give me Soto. Maybe Trey Turner this offseason.
Fair enough. All right, so we will close. Speaking of
closing time already,
it's almost closing time, guy. We're at the 46 minute mark. We're gonna close with we just chatted about Mr. Acuna. So far, I've seen a couple highlights of him hitting rockets off the wall in the minors. So I think he's getting ready to come back. So we'll talk a little bit of Acuna cards to potentially pick up before he returns to the bigs.
Yeah, well, the injury geek in me, all I care about are the videos of him running, and he looks good.
Oh, there you go. PT Bunk has said he looks ready to go. So I mean,
that's all that matters. And the dude didn't forget to hit because he blew his knee out. I got to make sure he's got legs.
Wheels. Yeah, I mean that's part of his appeal as a player is his ability to A, play center field, B, steal bases, and stretch hits.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I was talking to you before we went live here tonight that I was just looking at his 2018 Topps Chrome Refractor, and I told you I went refractor because I assumed the pop. I actually thought the pop would be lower than it is, but it'd be way lower than the base card. Pop was at I think it's almost 1,400, and it just sold for its lowest price in the last year.
Yeah, I got the chart up here. Just bring it up 1 year. So yeah, the previous low was 325 back in December of 2021. This past sale was 279.95, which probably means somebody picked up a fixed price. So somebody listed it that low, which I'm not sure why. Last auction was 375. But even at 375, 350, 375 are all both sold over the last week. So his prices are definitely at the bottom of where they've been over the last year.
And if you look at the 1 year chart, he's another one that followed the mold of he got a nice spike in that July-August range, even though it had come down from the preseason hype. It did as it plummeted from May till July, and then it popped up again.
Yeah, if you look at 2021, he got the surge that everybody else did in 2021. The card peaked at 850 and then literally turned on a dime and went all the way down to 368 in July. And then July, it ran up again to 600 and then turned on a dime in August. And then I think that's probably right around the time he got hurt, right?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when he got hurt, but yeah, it was later.
Then it's been flat until recently, and then a couple low sales at 350 and 278, 279.
Yeah, and regardless if someone made a mistake and listed that way too low, it's now a comp.
Yeah.
So other people see that and keep an eye on it and take a look. I actually think it's one of his that set refractor just has a nice look to it, and that's one of my favorite rookie cards of his.
So even if you look at some of his others, if you look at his X-Fractor last sale was $750. That is pretty much also the lowest that his cards have sold in 12 months. The previous sale lower than that came February of 2021. So, his market is definitely at a recent low. But if he looks good and comes back and is hitting the ball, it should bode well for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the top players in the game, and if we're talking, we're at 1-year lows on some of these graded cards. I mean, if you're a believer, you got to get in.
Yeah, I'm gonna take another quick nerdy look here. If you go back to gem rate and you look at his gem rates for 2018 Topps Chrome, the refractor gem rate 79%.
Wow.
79% on that, 62% on the Prizm refractor. The X-fractor gem rate is 68%. Negative refractor is 73%. So if you want to try to pick up
like
some.
There was a conspiracy going on in 2018.
The gem rates for 2018.
All the stud players have ridiculous gem rates.
Yeah, the gem rates for 2018 are off the charts.
Interesting. I'll have to ask Natty about that.
Oh, he's Natty now?
Dude, there's no way he's talking to me.
Guy, if you call him Natty, I will literally boot you from the call.
I would not disrespect.
I'll be like, technical difficulties. Bunk must have had a problem there.
Yeah, I would never do that.
The only questionable question that I'm going to allow you to ask is about the PSA 9.5.
Why is that questionable? It's a valid discussion.
I
already told you, dude. If he was responsible for making that go away, or I mean not go away, but not be a thing, I told you he's a pure genius.
Yeah.
They have taken off because of the lack of a 9.5.
Well, I will say that it's definitely a question that will be on the agenda to ask.
I'm looking forward to having a conversation about it because maybe I get enlightened with something I'm not even thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the next 2 weeks, there's a couple of conversations I'm looking to have with each one. Mike Geo from Sports Card Nonsense, his history is in breaking. So the rabbit hole that I want to go down with that is talking about some of the prices. What are these guys getting product for? What are they selling it for? So just talking about some of the markups and I think they're going to try to. I'm almost positive that once Fanatics and Topps and some of this stuff gets involved, that they're going to definitely try to fix that playing field a little bit. So I'm definitely curious to ask some of the insider knowledge of guys that are getting product and what they're getting it for and resale and all that. And then obviously with Nat, the things that I want to know is, since we don't get subgrades and there isn't a 9.5, if there's a small ding but everything else is perfect, does it come back at 10? Does it come back at 9? Like how is that decision made?
Yeah, I think the general consensus is if it's pretty obvious without taking a hard look, you're getting a 9.
Yeah. Well,
but if there are things that you looked at it closely and like, I'm not so sure about this card, but it's not completely obvious with a quick glance, then I think you still have a shot at 10, assuming your other 3 subs are really, really good.
Yeah.
But I'll see what he says.
Yeah, I'd like to know because once again, with no subgrades, is there other things outside the 4 that Beckett uses that maybe they take into consideration, or what is that? So that's some of that stuff is what I want to know. Anyway, you got anything else for the fine folks at home?
No, guy. I do not.
Alrighty. Once again, new website's up. www.sportscardadvantage.com. We got a new video of the week up. Dr. Bunk walking you through how to crack an HGA slab. We opened a Tyrese Maxey Prizm Auto HGA 9.5. So go check that video out. Follow us on social media, SportsCardADVTG on Instagram and Twitter. Going to do my best to be more active on our socials, trying to post some content. And contest, leave us a review, screenshot, send an email, info@sportscardadvantage.com. Get entered to win one of 3 prizes all around a $200 value. We made the announcement of what those were at the beginning.
I did. I'll drop something. I did use sportscardalarm.com to win that done, by the way.
Okay. So once again, when you're going to push our brand correctly. SportsCardAdvantage.com. Go to tools, go to alarm. Before we launched the site, SportsCard Alarm was the site where you went to, but now
that's why we keep you around.
That's all been rolled into everything under SportsCard Advantage. But we appreciate you using our tools. Yeah, I'm gonna make some tool videos coming up, talking about SportsCard Alarm, talking about the calculator, so you guys can get a better idea how to use them. If you're buying and selling on eBay or online, these are tools that you should be using on a regular basis. They should help you, with everything that you're doing. All right, now do you have anything else for the fine folks at home?
No, guy.
All right, episode 56 in the books. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We will see you next week. Once again, if you want to get your questions in for Mike Geo from Sports Cards Nonsense, get them to me, info@sportscardadvantage.com before Tuesday at noon Eastern. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.